All right, welcome back to episode 7 of the FTC Ravonics Gemini podcast. Today we are going to be joined by our team's lead engineer, Benjamin Smith.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
You're welcome. You should be grateful. This is an opportunity not many people are going to get.
Isn't everyone going to get this opportunity?
Everyone on our team, maybe, but not everyone in the world. So this is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, because I'm not going to have you a second time.
I doubt that. I am a fan favorite.
Yeah? You think the people at home love you?
Yes, they do.
Leave a comment if you hate this kid's guts.
Joke's on you. I am most of the people at home watching this.
You're the only person at home. You've got like 20 accounts, and they're all watching the podcast.
Well, of course.
Boosting our view count. And give us that 1 out of 10 on YouTube.
Yep.
So, you are a lead engineer.
I am.
Walk us through what your responsibilities tend to be.
So my responsibilities are quite broad, but it's pretty much a management position where I manage the resources that all the teams have and make sure that every person has what they need to meet their deadlines, and then talk to people who aren't meeting their deadlines and work with them to meet them for the next event.
So speaking of deadlines, our next event is in just shy of a month now?
Yes.
And we have, how much time in class was it?
I believe less than 9 hours and 45 minutes.
So that's not very much class time.
It's not.
How do you feel our team is currently working with those deadlines?
I feel that we are falling behind in some areas, but our programming team is working really far ahead, and I'm really proud of them for that.
So, what some areas? Let's spill some tea here.
Okay. Our design team is falling behind on some of the designing of the chassis plates. I knew that was going to be a challenge to design the chassis plates in about a week. But so far, we are taking about a week and a half, and chassis plates are still not fully designed yet.
All right, so speaking of our first competition here, what is your opinion on this year's new game?
I think this game has a lot of vertical movement and very little horizontal, which produces a lot of challenges for us. In past years, the bigger the bot, the better you've naturally done. This year, it's going to be smaller, the bot, the better you've done. But that presents challenge with center of mass and speed.
I don't know if either of those are necessarily true, but yeah, the movement throughout all of the poles in our game is going to require quite the nimble little robot here. And because the only experience that we have with doing FTC was the game from last year, which was like a lot of horizontal movement and like extensions in like horizontal directions. This is quite the curveball for us.
Yes.
And in some of the ways that our design team's been going about building the design here, it's shown that they're not quite ready for the extra challenge of that verticality. All right, so speaking of this game, do you plan on playing a role during the matches?
I might look into being a coach. So, coaches this game are going to be very important compared to other years, because even though the drive team is a very vital role, it's hard for the drive team in the moment to see the possible circuits towards the end game, and that can be a very large amount of points.
Yeah, so speaking about strategy for this game, it's like gonna be really chaotic with all of the like different people moving around and all of the different ways that you can score a bunch of points. And I really like how they revised the rules this year to make it based off of wins, losses against your opponents rather than your overall score. Because that adds another layer of depth where you can counterplay against your opponents instead of just trying to like get as many points as you can.
Yes. It allows the tournaments early on to still count compared to the tournaments later on having more value in past years.
That's also a very true point. But like, I think that being able to mess with your opponent is really funny.
It is. And I think that's going to be a very, very important part of this year's game.
Yeah, I'm planning on making it a very important part of our team strategy.
Very nice.
As the strategist, I think yeah, as our team strategist, we're gonna we're gonna show these kids what for on the field. We're gonna be breaking some ankles out here.
Yep. Michael, do you plan on playing a role in the game?
So I was thinking about playing a role, but it's occurred to me that because I am the media team as well, it might be better for me to not play an active role so I can get some recordings of our matches going on and get some action shots of our very talented drivers destroying the opposition.
Yes, very nice.
But also, because I'm the strategist, it might make sense to have me be a coach. So maybe I could do both sometimes.
Yes, I think that would be a very reasonable choice.
Because we're not actually locked down doing anything.
Yeah.
So I'll probably end up sitting a couple matches out and get some footage put together. But I think I'll end up returning to coach eventually. I definitely don't want to end up driving because, man, that would make me so nervous. Everyone in the venue is watching you play, and they're like, "Oh my god, this dude's inting." if you just mess up anything, imagine dropping a cone on accident. That would feel so bad.
Out of the FTC competition videos I've seen already from this year, many teams drop cones.
So speaking of dropping cones, do you have any thoughts on the claw design, or have you not been too involved with that part of the design so far?
I have been quite involved with that part of the design. We're using a 90-degree right and left brackets type of design with rubber bands on there to help center our cone more so we can drop it more reliably when we need it to.
So speaking of our team's design, based off of that rough outline that we made a couple weeks back, what's your favorite part of our design this year?
I think my favorite part is going to be the complexity of our chassis. We are completely manufacturing our chassis for the outside and inside plates.
So Ben, why in God's name did you pick project manager?
I pick project manager because it allows me to work on all aspects of the robot and be flexible with my time while still maintaining a very good position and member on the team.
I think my position's better than yours.
Yeah, you do nothing and just take pictures every once in a while.
I actually do quite a bit, but I normally help people whenever I want to. But if I don't want to, I can just not. I can just walk around with a camera for an hour, and people are gonna be like, "Yep, he's doing good work," and that's kind of hype sometimes. Although I normally end up helping with. I've been helping a lot with the fusion stuff lately, and also I've been helping Alex with the cool work that he's been doing with our auto mode.
Yes, it is quite cool.
So speaking of the other team members, which one do you think is the worst?
So far, the one who has produced the least amount of work is going to be Thomas.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say my name.
No. You have produced the podcasts.
I have. These are some great podcasts. Leave a comment down below and smash the like button and subscribe.
Yes. Out of all our producibles, he's the one who's done the least, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have an opportunity to really ramp it up during this design season right now.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Thomas has struggled a lot with getting his fusion working correctly, but he's back on track now, and he seemed to be making much better progress earlier today in class. So I'm expecting some great things out of him for this coming sprint. So why did you choose to join FTC?
I love working with robots, and there are two organizations here that allow us to, which is Engineering to Endure and FTC. And I didn't want to spend my entire time remaking the same robot, so I went with FTC.
Engineering to Endure is the BattleBots thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they seem really cool, but I ended up not applying to their capstone because they wanted to make us do research. And I've got something of a lazy streak when it comes to like that end of year period when we were filling these out.
Yes.
So speaking of lazy, why isn't the robot built yet?
We are falling behind because of our fusion problems during this design period at the moment.
So let's talk a little bit about what's currently happening in our team, just for a little bit here. So we've got the Fusion boys who are working on our chassis and like the plate models. Then we've got Solo is working on the claw.
Yes.
How's that progress coming along?
It's quite good. The last time I talked to her, she had a design done for the claw part, and she's working on modifying a older design of her last year's team's claw mechanism with a servo. So we should be able to close both claws at the same time with one servo to reduce weight.
All right, and like how close to being ready to build would you say that her design is?
I would say that within the next 2 week sprint, we'll have a claw ready to go.
Oh, that's actually some pretty great news. It's still up in the air whether or not we'll have a chassis by that time, so I'm not sure what we're going to do with that claw, but it's good to have that done. So we've got Liam. Is he helping with the chassis design, or was he still working on the arm?
He was helping with the chassis design. He was measuring the belt lengths that we have and that we should use for our chassis design, because we put all our motors in the back to help save space.
Okay, and Alex is, of course, doing some techno wizardry with the pathfinding for a robot. And then we've got Justin working on our viewfinder to help us scan our little starting element. I'm currently working on episode 7 of the FTC Ravonics Gemini podcast.
With, of course, the best lead engineer ever and best podcast.
He is the best lead engineer that we've had this year. I cannot disagree with that. I don't know if...
You got a new member on the podcast. Alex Rawson. We were just talking
Alex
about
Rawson. You. So, how do you respond to the allegations?
I plead the fifth.
Get out of my sight. Like, what are you in here for?
Okay, I guess we're recording. I was going to ask, do you have a vector version of the logo here?
Vector?
Yeah.
What's that?
Illustrator version, and Photoshop version.
No.
Okay.
What logo? Our logo?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so what were we talking? Oh, right, so we were talking about how you were the best lead engineer we've had this year, but it's up in the air whether or not you were the best lead engineer in the last 2 years. Leave a comment down below if you think Ben is worse than the guy who was here last year.
Do you know his name?
No. I'm so bad with names, I can't remember the names of these people I've met like once or twice.
Here, 1 second. Zane. Last year's lead engineer was Zane.
Alright, so leave a comment down below if Zane is better than Ben. I have no idea what either of them have done or will do. But you do, as the viewer. So make sure you give us engagement.
Viewer.
Yeah, you got to research the lore. It's like never mind, that's cringe. I won't say that. So Ben, let's get a little meta. Is this podcast funny?
This version of the podcast, I do not think it is that humorous.
Yeah, this episode has been a little bit of a snore fest. Leave a dislike if you agree. I feel like the best bit has been knocking over a chair every time I want to do an audio sync, even though there's no video to sync it to. But that's getting cut out, probably. Actually, I'll leave a couple of them
Yes.
in, just for the viewers out
Here,
there.
I'll add in some more audio scenes.
It doesn't. Okay, that's a bit louder. You're just destroying the audio.
You're welcome.
So, I think that we're running out of topics.
Yes.
This is probably going to end up being a shorter episode because a lot of the general topics we talked about in the other first episode that we made here. So, Ben, unlike last time when you denied us, would you like to do the outro?
I don't have my outro music.
Don't worry, I'll add it in post. Just do your outro. I'll sync it for you.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
See you guys on the next podcast.
Is that really all it was?
I don't know.
By the way, this is staying in too.
Oh, I know. Definitely.
All right, and let's get one last audio sync before we cut out.
Thank you.